I think there is time, without turning into Benedictines, with this splitting between prayer and work, between active life and contemplative life. I think that what the Franciscan tradition really shows us when we push it and we really pay attention to the models of Franciscan living and we look at the sources, is that our whole life needs to become a prayer. Not in some sort of like superficial or flippant way, but in a way that we become more and more aware of how we communicate to one another in relationship and how we communicate to God through our actions and through other ways. I also think that, like experiences of relationships with people, if we want to know God and we want to be known by God, even if we don't want to be known by God, but we should, we need to take time to be alone with God. So there's a place for solitude. It may not be as dramatic as like having big retreats or something, but maybe it's just a couple minutes a day, or maybe it's just turning off the iPhone for once. No, I'm just kidding. Poor Paul. But maybe it's focusing on a date night with God or a date minute with God, right? How many people who have been in long-term marriages, been married or in partnerships or something for decades, still have date nights set aside? And there's a reason why you use that language. You're trying to retrieve something. And I think we need a similar sort of retrieval in our prayer lives. And I think that's what Francis was doing when he was always, going away to solitude. And I think that's a model for us. I think he did it maybe a little too much for us sometimes, but that's fine too. He was walking everywhere, so that's different. It's not always going to be easy, like all relationships, but I think it's necessary. And as soon as we forget the necessity of the work and the reflection on that and our awareness that it's not just when we show up at church for an hour a week or when we pray in the morning at morning prayer or something, but it's our whole lives, then things start to change a little bit. So, 2 things in summary. I think that our relationship with God is not as completely alien to our lives as we sometimes think or act like it is. That it's much more like our relationships with other people than I think we at times realize, certainly at times that I realize. And I think we need to be conscious about incorporating moments of solitude in our life. Regardless of what our state of life is in the world, the solitude's important to be alone with